Yo, yo, Tony D. I was doing some slumming in the back bins. I picked up a bunch of Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, and this one, Faith. I think this is one that it really flies under the radar. Mike Barr, the Arthur, Bart Sears doing the pencils, and I thought the pencils were they really captured the weight of the narrative and the grittiness of Gotham streets. We start off, we have this junkie. Yeah, he's got it bad. He's on his last leg. And he starts getting a beat down by a bunch of thugs. And then our guy comes. Yeah, he's still drugged out, and this is what he's seeing. Batman, this is the last visions he sees before he's out of it. He ends up, of course, in the hospital, and Leslie Thompkins, she's a moral compass for Bruce Wayne. And this part right here, this character really brings a push-pull, a conflict between, was Batman really good? It raises the ethical questions about justice and vigilantism. And it'll get deeper as we go, where this character right here, you get this sense that he's a little bit off mentally. Someone in a situation like that, you're going to reach out. You just want out. You know what I mean? He wants out of what he's in, and things like that can be real tough. And I think he's looking for, you got to find that light to hold on to. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And I think that sets up for a little bit later what we see him do. And you get a little, Batman is talking with her, and it's really a push-pull conflict. And she was with Child Services when they picked up Batman as a child that fateful night that created our Dark Knight. And it's really, the writing is really interesting. I think Mike Barr is really an underrated writer because this is good stuff. He's really setting up the narrative where we ask these questions of, is vigilantism, does it produce the good to outweigh the negative that it brings? And it does bring some up in this story. You could call it Batman's role as a symbol of what he is can have unintended consequences throughout his crusade. And this book really defines that well. Now Batman's going to go out. He's wanting to hunt down, I forget the criminal's name. The criminal has something to do with the drugs that this guy got into. And she thought, oh, he would just be gone. She's used to these people coming in and leaving. She's used to the rhythm of these downtrodden drug addicts and their pattern, and he's starting to break out. And he's going through withdrawals, and he's having some visage there. Yeah, and these pencils, that's what I'm saying. It's good stuff. Really, in my mind, it's his conscience talking to him. Usually when you're wrapped up like that, your conscience is what the inside of you is trying to pull you out of that mess, and you can lock on to something. The only part I didn't like about this was it was in green, and you can't even read it right there. Only critique. Ackers, he gets healthy, he gets out. And the first thing he does, he decides to do good. He knows where the downtrodden, when they come to Gotham, where they're at, and he saves this guy from one of the predatory antagonists that show up. And they develop this vigilante group. And this is what I'm talking about. And it's real black and white for him. It's building positivity. It seems to be doing good. And then he goes to repay a loan to Thompkins, and she didn't want nothing to do with it because he's committing violence. And see, he's got this, that Batman must be watching him and liking what he's doing. And then Gordon pulls him in because he's making waves, and he's telling him, and this guy is smart enough. He's like, are you going to bring in Batman? He does what we do. There's your conflict all set up. But then you get this shot of his face where he's being slick. Yeah, who's to say who's right or wrong? And Gordon, he's ripping up the bat signal. He can't have, it's either all or none for him. And I'm going none. I can't, because even more and more of these groups could pop up. There's consequences. Even for good, there's consequences. That's an interesting concept that made me think was consequences isn't necessarily a bad thing, but bad and good both have consequences. It can be in many forms, and the writer sets up one potential form here in this reading. Very thought compelling. He confronts his guy, and Batman knows it's a trap. And there's even sparks of detective work there. How come you have cigarette stains on your fingers? How come you haven't lit up a cigarette? That's because it's going to explode in there. And we got to get out. But it's fast. He doesn't have time to save the guy that's in there. And also, you have a legion of bad guys out there just shooting the place up. And what happens through all this is the little vigilante group confronts the guys outside and gives them a beatdown, and Batman applauds them. You're doing good work. The Ackers guy, that is the worst thing that could happen, because now, this is such great artwork. The mood, the color. Batman's talking to Alfred, and it's a legion of Robins. I got that sense with Alfred saying, hey, they're not ready. And Batman, there was a time he wasn't ready. And it's just, you're just setting up this conflict. And yeah, this guy, he picked up the gun. And we all know Batman and guns, that is a no. For me, this is an underrated book. I think it's worth a read. It's thought-provoking. It's challenging Batman's role as a symbol, unintended consequences with his mission. And if you enjoy stories that examine the philosophical side of Batman, this one's a good read. We'll get it all ready to go. I love finding these books at the comic shop where it's totally affordable. And the whole series was there. And it was good to go. And outro, get it.